And we are live. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the sixth training of Webinar Control. I see you guys coming into the room here right now. Obviously, you're hearing this about 20 to 30 seconds after me, so type in the chat if you can hear me, and if you can see Sean wander over here. Sean, say hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
And Mitch joining us from Israel.
Hello, how you doing, everybody? It's 1 in the morning. It's 1 in the morning here.
1 in the morning. See what we do to Mitch by doing this. Thanks, Mitch, for sticking around and staying up so late. So
now you know why we're doing the next one at 3 hours earlier.
Yes, exactly. Yvette, we have some good news for you. Sean will be reaching out to you and giving you some good news in reference to Traffic Genesis. You had a question about that, so we've got some really, really good news for you. Vet, also, I wanted to answer a question that you had about what happens if we hit start broadcast here before the room, and this is just
a question
about Webinar Jam Studio. So originally what happened, people were at the room that you guys were just in, and it would say that there's 4 minutes and 59 seconds, and you saw a countdown timer. And that room was a literal gatekeeper. Until that timer hit 0, the timer was then told to redirect you into the page that you're in now. And what we realized was that we would start our webinars a little early, like 5 minutes early, and say, hey, guys, you're in the right place. Andy and I will be getting started in about 5 minutes. So in the meantime, and it's okay now because you don't want to start content until the o'clock hour starts. So you could say things, you're in the right place, where are you from? Hey, Doyle, where are you guys from? Rogeria, where are you from? Yvonne, all those types. You can interact and engage as we spoke about in Webinar Genesis. What we found was that once you started that broadcast, nobody was hearing it. And then they missed everything that you were saying because the room didn't redirect them until the timer hit 0. So what we've done now in Webinar Jam Studio is the room starts checking 15 minutes before the webinar is supposed to start, and then what it does is every minute it checks to see if you hit start broadcast. So if I would have started 10 minutes ago, you guys all would have went in and you would have heard me doing stuff like, hey guys, thanks for making it here early. We're going to be getting started in exactly 9 minutes. In the meantime, let me know where you're from and can you hear me and all that type of stuff. So I know you had a question about that, and I know your other question was, once you hit that green start broadcast button, and it turns to a red stop broadcast button, does everybody hear you? And the answer is yes. If you click Google's start broadcast button early, our room now will let everybody in, and you can no longer talk to your moderators. Like Sean and me and Dave and Mitch, we were in here early, just saying, hey, Mike, you'll talk about this first. All that has my audio. Hey, I'm getting an echo, all that type of stuff. If you hit the start broadcast, everybody's going to hear that, and you basically went live. So I know you had a question about that. Guys, that's unrelated necessarily to, well, I guess it relates to webinar control. That was a question we had last week that we had to look into. So we're going to get started and get into the training. Last part of the agenda, can you believe this is training number 6 already? I remember it was number 1 just like it was yesterday. And it hasn't been a month already, guys, since what was the date that we actually did the first webinar?
It was July 1st.
My goodness.
July 1st was the date.
Yeah, and that was probably on a Wednesday.
It was.
It was 4 weeks ago yesterday, so that's amazing. So, guys, what the agenda is for today is to talk about creating your offer, how you present the offer, some do's and some don'ts about the offers, how your slides actually build, excuse me, and how you introduce payment plans, how you can use PayPal Bill Me Later if you actually have PayPal at your shopping cart, when the guarantee comes in, and then how you then transition to a close in terms of Q&A, and then maybe some additional training, and then closing again, closing out your webinar, using the scarcity and the urgency buttons, triggers that are in Webinar Jam Studio, all those things we're going to be covering today. And then we're done. Essentially, we are done. And what I'm going to do for you guys, I hope you're happy about this. I hope this will get you excited. I'm going to take the slides that I'm going to show you today, they're in Keynote, and I'm going to export them in Keynote and PowerPoint, the sections of the slides. I'm going to get rid of everything else so that you can actually see the slides and build them and see how the animations and everything work. So you guys are going to have that, and I hope you think that's pretty cool. So it's not just theory that we're going on here. And yes, I want you to take notes, but you'll actually have the slides so that you can play, and you can then maybe have 2 PowerPoints open or 2 Keynotes open. One is yours where you're building it, and then you hit and you see exactly how we build it. All right. So if you think that's cool, that's awesome. Now, I also want to let you know when I was doing this, setting this up like I did last week. I was doing it in white slides. Remember, last week ended and it said part 2 will be Thursday. And I'm doing these slides, and it just wasn't working in white slides saying add this bonus and now your main offer. And I was just like, this is going to be so abstract that the way that we're going to do this is very similar to the way that we did the email coaching calls a few weeks ago. I'm going to actually break down the exact slides that we did for webinar control. So it's going to be more. You're welcome, Nicole. Thanks, Tom, Ron, everybody, Yvette. Oh no, excellent. So you guys are actually going to be. It's going to be more of like, so do you see what I did there, and why did I put that bonus there, and how did that handle that objection? So this training, I think, is going to be a little more interesting in that fact than last week, so that we're not dealing with those white slides. And furthermore, just so you know, the white slides that I trained on last week were printed into a PDF. And they were put into a zip file, and they are in the members area right underneath the video of last week's archive. So you also have access to the PDFs of the slides that we did last week, so you can print them and take notes, and they go along with everything. But just a reminder, the ones that I'm going to give you this time are actually Keynote and PowerPoint slides with full animations built in. All right, and then finally, the training part of webinar control, how to do the webinars and all that stuff, we've done it all by the time we get through today. What's going to happen on Tuesday, our final training, is I will be opening up the room and then immediately turning it over to Mitch and Sean for our final training. I've known Mitch and Sean now for several years. My cats are here to bug me. I've known these guys for several years, seen a lot happen to the software. I've never seen a bigger grin on their faces than I did about 10 minutes ago when Sean was like, wait till you see the software, Mike. We've got it all. It's all done. We've got the the documents and the spreadsheets and the collaborations. Wait till you see it. And he's like, maybe we should show it today. And I said, no. We're going to keep it on focus. I know you're excited. As much as I want to show Kartra and all these things, we've got to wait, put everything in its place. And so, guys, Tuesday is going to be exciting. What you're going to be learning about the software is how you can use the software with your webinar control frameworks and the additional bonus frameworks that we gave you. How you can use it as a project manager, how you could use it for brainstorming as an advanced mind map, how you can actually create courses with it, how you can publish those courses to your users, what access levels you could give them, how you can collaborate with your team members, all those different things, because I think one of the things that's been kind of under the radar in the content training that we've been doing over the last 6 weeks is that you guys got access to kick-ass software. And it's really one of the heroes of what you purchased, and we haven't had a chance yet to really show that off. So you're going to see it with its beautiful fresh coat of paint. You guys are going to be very excited, so can't wait. And so just reading here, all I'm seeing is wow, thanks, that's great, awesome news, very cool. So you guys seem to be pretty excited. So let's go in and share my slides and get into the training. And before I do that, I want to just remind us where we were last week, right? So last week we did our training webinar. And remember, we said that the training, when you do your training, you have to earn the right to present. Now, the way that I taught you was not only do you have to earn the right to present, but you want to be transparent about that and let them know that you're going to ask them if you earn the right to present. And that's going to hold you accountable. It'll keep you in check, and it'll make sure that you are doing the right thing on your webinar, right? So let me give you an example of the wrong way to do that compared to the right way. If I was doing a webinar to sell people on Webinar Jam Studio, or let's say EverWebinar, what I don't want to do is start a webinar and say, hey everybody, thank you for joining Webinar Jams webinar. So let me show you some of the features that you can do with this. And then basically all I'm doing is a pitch and a pitch and a pitch and a pitch and a pitch about features of software. That will come later in the presentation. Okay? What you want to focus on is something that's going to be exciting to get people onto a webinar. People want to learn. So you wouldn't want to have a landing page that says, come watch me demo my software, right? You know, like, hey, just give me a video, do a demo of the software. You want to teach. And I would wrap that around maybe like the 5 laws of a successful webinar. And then now, have I earned my right? Do you guys see how using these techniques with webinars can work? Yes. Have I earned the right to show you our software and how this can work with this? Yes, great. Let me show you how Webinar Jam software ties in with what I just trained you. Okay, and so at this point, that's where we would be in the presentation. We would have done everything that we spoke about last week, our story, proof of concept, that eureka aha moment, how it affected us, what life was like before that, immediately once we had the aha moment, what life is like today. I shared that with some different people, and here are the 3 big secrets about what I've learned in that aha moment. And then you go into the training. And to close that out, because this is important, so I want to kind of recap some of that stuff. We have to be careful, and we have to remember that the goal of a sales webinar is to get customers, right? It's to get customers. In order to get customers, we have to make sales. And you know, I'll bring something out, you know, and I always say forgive me sometimes when I bring up stuff about the car business because it was hardcore. You know, and I remember, you know, I was a nice guy. I made friends with everybody. I was one of the weakest salespeople for about 2 years, and I was the king of they'll be back, and this would be me. Hi, Jim, Susan, how are you? Yeah, it's Mike from Sunrise Toyota. How are you? And I could just see something in their voice. It was like, so you guys were in here on Sunday test driving the Camry, and you said that you'd be stopping in Wednesday. I just want to confirm that. Oh, you did? You did? At Millennium Toyota, can you tell me why? And then I would get something like this. Well, I really don't want to tell you why we bought it somewhere else, Mike, but we did, and they'd hang up. And I remember one day my boss told me, Mike, for you to succeed in this business, you've got to understand one thing. You're here to sell cars. And if you make friends along the way, even better, that's what I want from you. But if you make friends and don't sell cars, you're not going to have a job in this business. So my advice for you is this. If you're going to do webinars for your business, and we have, you know, we have spouses, we have kids, we have rent, we have things, and we are not doing a service to people by not getting them in our program. There's only so much I was able to teach you on a 1-hour webinar about webinar control. The gems was you getting in this course, and you know, me, Sean, Andy, and Mitch, we get feedback about how we change people's lives, and I know many of you do too, and that's the validation, right? The validation was when I would see people driving off the lot in that car with a smile on their face, right? That's when I really made a friend. That's when I made a difference, right? So I want to tell you guys the same thing. Your job is to make sales. Now, if you do great training along the way, well, then I'm really proud of you, okay? Because now you're doing it the way that world-class marketers do that, okay? If you're making sales and not training well, I guess that's better than training well and not making sales, but I don't like either of those. So, Rogerio, ouch, I'm glad you left the car sales business. Yeah, I was a general manager for several years, Rogerio, and I got to tell you, it sucked. It was 28 days a month of work. It was about 70 hours a week. I was the first one in, last one out with that key. And you think I got bags under my eyes now, you should have seen me then. I really looked like a raccoon. I was overweight, and I thought life was great because I was making $110,000 a year. But I got to tell you, I learned a lot of things in the car business, especially working with that dealership, Millennium, for the last 4 years. When I was there, I really learned how, especially when you're face-to-face, how people don't want to hurt your feelings, so they'll make up false objections because you're not really answering or giving them all the information they need to make an informed decision. Okay, and doing the webinar the right way will allow people to like you, know, like, love, and trust you, want to do business with you, not just for this course, but for years and years and years to come that you're helping them with, or your software, or your coaching, or whatever it is. And you're also training them. So that's, I think, we've made that point. But so at one point we do need to get to, if I had a slide here, if Tom Cruise going, show me the money, that's the point we want to get to here. So let's assume that right now I just finished up my last secret. And guys, so that's been 1 hour, and I hope that you've gotten some good information that you can use in your business, right? And then let's share my slides and go to there. Keynote, share. Okay. And you guys are seeing my screen?
All good, Mike.
All righty. Okay, so I'm going to actually pull this tab away. And no, that did not work, so I got to put it back in here. So you see my screen again, Sean?
Yes, you're still good.
Okay, so let's get into character here. Here's my slide, and remember, guys, you're going to get access to all of these slides with the animations and everything. And this is what you're seeing with Webinar Jam Studio. I'll get rid of that because it's a template, and I'll just go to a blank template if I can. I think I can. And if I can't, Dave knows how to help me with that. So I'm going to go into character. And when I say character, guys, that means I'm transitioning into, what my voice is like when I'm doing this in this point in the webinar, and then when I get back into the training like we're doing now, I'll say, okay, so let me get back out of character. Okay, so let me ask you a question. I know we had limited time, and I wanted to respect that. Given the time we had, did we do, and that's if you're there with a partner or your JV partner, or if you're by yourself, did I do a good job today of giving you stuff, even if you left this room right now, that you could use in your business or your life today or tomorrow? So then you would say this. Let me know in the chat by saying yes or no. And if you type yes, then that means that you're going to give me an opportunity to talk to you about, and I even say this, awesome, slides made in advance. Everybody starts typing, yes, great job, loved it, awesome content. And this will happen. If you've given great information for 55 minutes or an hour, people are absolutely going to be loving you. And if you did everything that we said last week, about eyes, ears, and fingers, keeping them engaged, if that makes sense, type yes. And doing the math, how much would that mean to you? How much time would that save you? All that stuff. They're going to love you. They're going to be engaged. They're going to be like, yes, please. Okay, so the next thing that I do right now, and remember, I would have said, so guys, remember I told you I wouldn't talk to you about my offering unless you said yes, so let me take a few minutes. I've actually learned, I've said 10 minutes, and I've realized my closes go 20 or 30, and I want to always speak in the truth there. I don't want to say 10 if it's going to be 20. So I'll probably just change that to, let me take a few minutes to show you what I've got for you. So my first slide, if you're taking notes, is result from your product, right? So these are new case studies, some that you haven't shown before, okay? So here's some more results from XYZ program. Russell Brunson, who is this person, says, holy cow, etc., etc., etc. Now, I like to mix up my case studies with two different types of things. One is somebody that I call an authority figure, the Tony Robbins of your industry, the Richard Branson of your industry, the Frank Kerns, the Brendan Burchards, the Mike Koenigs and the Russell Brunsons, the people that most of these people on the call would be like, wow, you've had a chance to work with that person and get results. Now remember, this doesn't even have to be about results of your program. This could be a slide that you've gotten 6 years ago, right? But as long as that person still holds the opinion of you, that simply says something like, let's say it was Tony Robbins, right? I had a chance to work with Mike Filsaime. I believe this guy to be a marketing genius. If he ever has any information to offer you, make sure to get your hands on it. This guy's a winner, right? I don't care if that's 7 years old. It's not a blog post. I'm not going to put a date on it that says February 2007, right? sent to me in an email or a blog post or a comment. But if that person said it, get permission from them, and you use it in their slides. And if you still have a relationship with that person, those things can be gold, right? Just absolute gold. Earlier in your presentation, if you happen to be on stage with that person, yeah, here's me on stage with so-and-so, right? So here I actually happen to have results, so I've got the double whammy. Not only do I have an authority figure in the industry, but I've got results promoting his product, okay? The other type of example that is good to get, and you put it in the middle, and you get as many of these as you can, okay? And if you start running into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these testimonials, you go into what I call Mike Koenig's testimonial mode. And what that means is you would take something like where it says results from the framework and put a headline about something that they said that was powerful. Like I'm now applying this this framework to all my future JV partners, and that might be the headline. Or it might be 250,000 in sales from one promotion, because now you're going to start clicking through your slides, and all of this text you don't read. Sean, Mitch, I'm sure you'll agree with me. You've seen this slow momentum down at live stage events. If you guys have ever traveled to a stage, to an event live and saw a speaker on stage, type in the chat if you've actually seen a speaker get to the PowerPoint, the testimonial sections in the PowerPoint, and they start reading every testimonial, every email, and they're great, but it's breaking momentum. They're on like email number 11, and they're like, Jim wrote to me, and he said, hey, wanted to let you know you were my #1 affiliate, and then you're reading, and you're reading, and you're reading, and many of the testimonials it's that 80-20 rule, that 80% of the content are saying the same thing, and there's maybe one good line in there that was good, right? Scott saying yes, you can't stand it. And as much as those testimonials are doing their job, they're breaking momentum. So if you build up 30 testimonials, 10, 15 testimonials, use it like Mike Koenig's. Do your first yawn, Rogerio says. Yes, Mitchell, it's terrible. Do it like Mike Koenig's. Do your first 2 or 3 power testimonials like this. The next testimonial, your third testimonial, the one that I called the Norma Jean from Macon, Georgia, right? The 80-year-old retired school teacher, grandmother. Again, guys, all in the truth. And you say, now, guys, remember, results not typical. But when you see the single dad or the single mom or the college student that was struggling, or the divorced spouse, wife, whatever the thing is, mom raising 3 kids, used to have 2 jobs, was thinking about getting the 3rd job, or the weight loss, or whatever, right? You want at least 2 to 3 of those types of people that people can say, wow, if they can do it, there's really no excuse for me. I mean, she's an 80-year-old lady. Look at that, man. She's got pep. She's got energy. But still, I can't say I don't know anything about how computers work. She's 80, or that lady. She's divorced, working 2 jobs, and has 4 kids. What's my excuse? So that's the job of these things, is to show proof that authority figures and Norma Jean from Macon, Georgia, can do it. Now, if you guys don't know who Norma Jean from Macon, Georgia is, Norma Jean was Marilyn Monroe. All right? We want to transform people into the regular, everyday people that get turned into a star when they buy your program. We transform them into Marilyn Monroe. Okay? And after we've done 2 or 3 of these, like my next one, here's Mike Koenig's. I would read this entire thing. Mike Filsaime and Andy Jenkins consulted me for 3 hours on the webinar control framework. And do you notice what I'm doing here with my voice? I'm going into character, guys, when I'm saying this. I put a smoothness to my voice. When they applied it to my webinar for Webcast Profits Toolkits, and the results were the best webinar we ever did. In one promotion, we grossed $320,000, and now I'm rolling this framework out with every JV partner as well as my evergreen marketing funnels. Do whatever you can to get your hands on this framework. Guys, this was Mike Koenig's. He's a New York Times bestselling author. I would do 1 or 2 more of those types of testimonials, and now if you happen to have those 30 or 50, this is how your cadence will change. This is how the pace will change. Now, I've got a few more guys, and because of the time, let me go a little bit quicker. Here, Sean Wander says, best results we've ever had. Here's Mitch German, used it. In 3 days, we doubled our profits on our webinar. It only took us 4 hours to go through the training. Here's Rob. Here's Donna. Donna had to say, and you just start going through and reading the headlines. Because now what's going to happen is you've established the credibility that credible people are giving you testimonials. The only thing that matters is the things in those testimonials that are saying something somebody else didn't, that is elevating the message or handling an objection. My 18-year-old daughter took this right out of high school and immediately was able to go to her school and use it to raise $30,000, right? If you're doing fundraiser, right? You want to get to all of these points that are handling objections. If there's something where somebody says, I didn't think I had the money, I had $300 left on my credit card, I went out and I did what I had to do, I asked my dad for the credit card, and I paid him back in 3 weeks using your system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're dealing with I don't have the money, right? We want to deal with I don't have the time. Look at Linda. She says she is a school teacher and also does music lessons after class. She only had about 3 hours available per week to do this. Here's what she said. In just my 3 hours a week, I was able to do X, Y, Z, right? So you're not going to read all these things. You're going to use them to handle objections. Every one of these people are going to help you handle objections that other people have. And then when you're done, you go to something like this. All right? So let me talk to you about my product name and then a synopsis of what your product is. The complete webinar control blueprint and framework. Okay? Here, if you have a screenshot of your members area, if you have a screenshot of your software, this is where you might want to display it. Let me tell you what I'm not a fan of. Okay? And I'm going to actually beat up my buddy here, and let's see if he had a chance to do this. My best friend, Dr. Steve, his son got the bug because Dr. Steve does online marketing, and let's see, hopefully I can find it and it's live. If that's the name, let's see, please. Okay, this is what I'm not a fan of, and Sean, pop in and tell me if you're seeing...
Yep, seeing the video about to play.
Okay, guys, I'm not a fan of these things. These are graphic kits that... let's see if I could zoom in here. Come on, zoom in, buddy. Okay, where are we? Oh, it won't actually zoom in the images for me. Okay, there we go. You see these things that show CDs? You could hire a graphics person to do this, and number one, it's going to increase your refunds, and number two, it's going to set false expectation. This is what people are calling virtual thud factor, but you are not delivering a course on DVDs if they're behind a membership with videos, right? You're not sending them a box, and there's not pamphlets. I know people like this. Most merchant accounts will not even allow you to do this. It's the refunds will come in and say, I never got my shipment, right? So I'm not a big fan of doing this. I prefer to do something. Let me see if he actually has something like this, where you show like this video thing that I'm circling right here, and you just say that it's a training course. All of these things, this is a video course, but it makes it, these things are better here. I don't like the fact that you're showing people that you're using DVD. So if you're doing that, try to move away from that in the future. Okay, going back to our slides, and show screenshots of inside of the members area. It's definitely okay to do a short 2-minute demo of your software. So you can say something. Look, I've even seen people do 8, 10, 12 minutes. Russell does a 10-minute demo of his software. So guys, I'm going to show you how I can build a marketing funnel, a complete funnel with a squeeze page, a tripwire page, a landing page, and an upsell page in under 10 minutes. Want to see me do it? Cool. Let me put the countdown timer. And that type of stuff works great. So if remember what I told you the other day, these types of things need to be as long as they need to be to make the perfect, effective presentation and not a second more. So if it needs to be 3 minutes, then don't do it in 6 and don't do it in 2. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm going to look and see some of the questions here. Ron says, can you comment on using testimonials that are quotes on the training I'm using from the Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss, Nicholas, without their specific and not specifically with me? Sean, Mitch, is that can you elaborate on that? It's not making.
Yeah, I had actually asked Ron to elaborate a little bit further. So Ron, when you hear this or seeing my note to you, try to rephrase. I think it might be. I'm going to take a guess just in case, but and if he corrects us, here's this. Nope, that was Yvette. It might be one of those things like where the testimonial is sort of more general to like the training and the framework, but they haven't necessarily given you personally the endorsement, but maybe it's a partner or a framework that they've endorsed that you happen to be using as part of your program. Does that make sense? If not, we'll wait for his clarification and then we'll jump back to him.
Yeah, if you can, because sometimes you just got to be honest, and you got to say, Sean, even while you were talking, I was going ahead and reading some of the other questions, and I only took 50%. So that's my bad. But that happens sometimes, so I don't want to be. I just got to admit to that. I was going out reading.
No worries. Mitch sometimes leaves the room when I'm talking, so I have that effect on people. But
okay, Ron says that's correct. So repeat that question for me.
So basically, it was. I think so. Ultimately, if my interpretation was, if somebody is not giving you personally a direct testimonial or endorsement, but they're endorsing maybe the framework or the product that you happen to be using, and so indirectly, that's sort of a testimonial for you and the product.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is it my framework, or is it somebody else's framework and I just happen to teach it? You follow what I mean?
I do. That's a question for Ron, because I'm not sure what
Okay, so let's assume that he was talking about yours. That's exactly what's going on here, right?
Yep.
So he might have asked that before we saw this. Mike Koenig is not saying anything about Michael Samer or Andy Jenkins, other than we consulted him on the framework. His tagline in all caps there is, do whatever you can to get your hands on this framework. Mm-hmm. So yes, he's not endorsing our credibility, so to speak. He's endorsing the product. So yes. Mm-hmm. All right.
I'll give you, if I could, Mike. I'll answer it this way, Ron. When we partnered on one of our products a while back, which was an older version of a ControlWriter software platform called Presentation Control, we partnered with a group of people called Speaking Empire, Dave Van Hoos and Dustin Matthews. Some of you may know them. And so we didn't actually have direct, in other words, Mitch and I did not have direct endorsements from Rich Sheffrin, Robert Allen, and a number of other people at the time for our software. But since the software was incorporating that framework specifically, it was incorporating a framework that they had used and had endorsed, we were perfectly okay to use the endorsement of that framework. We didn't say, Robert Allen says, hey, Sean's the best guy, you got to work with him, he's top notch. It was always specifically about the framework itself.
Yeah, and and back to that, let me just go back to me on here on the camera. Back to that, there are some proven strategies, in the world that, let's say nobody owns or anything like that.
Still seeing your screen, Mike, if you want to be on camera. Yeah.
Oh, no, not on camera. Yeah, when I show my screen. Yeah, that sometimes there's particular proven frameworks out there that you might just be an expert at teaching, right? And gosh, I don't know. Let's say there was a particular batting system, or back in the car business days, there was something known as the 4-square system. Nobody really owned it. Basically, it was a guess sheet, and after you got all of their names, there were 4 squares. Number 1 was the price of the car. Number 2 was the trade-in. Square number 3 was the down payment, and square number 4 was the monthly payment. And when you knew how to use the 4-square system, what you wanted to do was get everyone to realize that the only place we need to be negotiating is in the monthly payment. So for instance, I would say to somebody, they'd be like, can you do better on the car? And I would say something like, well, let me ask you a question. If we did better on the car, got you everything you wanted on the trade and more, and we paid off your trade, and you wanted to put $2,000 down, if we did that and your monthly payment was $600 a month, would we be able to do a deal today? Is that in your budget? And they say no. So then you would say something like, so what you're telling me is it doesn't matter what the price is, even if we agree to it. It doesn't matter what I get you for your trade, and you don't want to put more than $2,000. The only thing that matters is we've got to get this payment affordable to you. And they would say, yeah, I told you I'm not paying more than $300 a month. You would say something like, well, I don't know if that's possible, so let's see if we can get into $300 a month. And then if we do, we'll back into the numbers. And if those numbers aren't acceptable to you, I certainly wouldn't accept you to go forward today. And that is a magical system. And it takes somebody that's very strong to be able to control those four squares, because it's true, and I can tell you many people would negotiate. I got you what you wanted for your trade. We saved you $500 off the advertised price. You wanted to do it with $1,000 down. We're only doing it with $500 down because you wanted to put down less. We're everywhere you wanted to be, but we didn't come to terms on the payment, and the guy says, I can't afford it. You walk out, and you realize you shouldn't be negotiating on price when the guy is a payment buyer. So this was known as the four-square system. So if you are certified in the four-square system, or as a trainer, you could go out and get other people to endorse you and say, you know, Sean Wander is the country's leading trainer on the four-square system. So it doesn't even have to be your system. If there's something out there that works and is known, and you're a leader at it, go right ahead and get those endorsements. Okay. All right. So moving on. Any other questions here, guys, before we move on?
Rogerio had one. Dave and I answered it, but Rogerio was asking, Mike, when should we use video or audio or written testimonials in a sales webinar? Do you like video injections with testimonials?
Yes, I absolutely 100% do. Don't let them cater to your own ego. I've just got a video testimonial today for Webinar Jam. Unfortunately, we can't use it. It was 12 minutes long. It had noise in the background. It just went on for 12 minutes, and you know, maybe we can get a snippet out of it. All right. So the point is that it has to keep the momentum going. It has to raise the momentum. You might want to say, here's how this guy went on and on and on about how happy he is with the software. Let me play a 30-second clip and get to that hero headline of, you know, the 20% that he's saying different than everybody else. Number one, absolutely use video testimonials and case studies. They work very, very well, and you know, people can see the authenticity to it. Obviously, guys, don't ever use Fiverr. I know that, like, you know, it's out there. I've heard people actually just say, well, you know, everybody says you have to have testimonials, and I haven't sold my product yet, so what was I supposed to do? Just don't use testimonials. You know, that's all. That's it. No big deal. You'll get them. You know, you'll get them after. One of the things we said with you guys is, hey, we need case studies. You know, we're going to raise this price by $1,000. We're going to get them from our customers. So you can do the same thing. Just make sure they're real and they're authentic. They absolutely work. So next thing that we do, we give a little backstory here, how the framework came to be. I'm going to skip this because this was necessary because we couldn't include this earlier in the presentation. Okay? This was supposed to be, let's say, part of the eureka moment, but it didn't flow necessarily with the 5 laws. Why? Because we have 2 different things that we're offering you. We're offering you content and we're offering you software, and this is the first time that the software was coming up. So unfortunately, we had to do a little bit of that aha moment into the pitch. So now, basically, guys, what's going on here is I have a slide that talks about you know, the main part of the course. You're going to get webinar control, 2 training classes starting July 9th and July 16th. We actually turned that into 7. 7 live and interactive training sessions, Q&A available, and all the replays will be available on demand. Then, let me just see here. Is this do I have the? Okay. So then I continue to. I'm just going to go back here. Sorry, guys. I go on, talk a little bit more about what it includes. Our email swipes from our 3 best. We actually gave you 9. Or 8, includes all of our landing pages, our email sequences, including our high-converting replay sales page. You know, our scarcity replay page. We give that to you in HTML or a link that's put into ClickFunnels. Then we talk here. This is going on and handling some objections, and I'm not necessarily talking about what's in the course, right? So I'm saying Webinar Control works with your own webinars you already have. It will work with GoToWebinar, but we'll recommend Webinar Jam Studio, obviously. It'll work with any evergreen webinar platform, but it'll work even better with EverWebinar. Works with promotions you do for other people's webinars, and we think it's safer than doing product launches. And then at here, basically what I'm doing is I'm adding benefits and defending my product about being easier than some of the other marketing funnels that you hear out there. And let me tell you something that Andy and I learned. We did a promotion, as you know, with for Brendan Bouchard, and Andy did something crazy, and he offered coaching to everybody that bought, and we're spending 3 hours a day talking to 3 different people a day, and it could be 6 or 7. We just can't see that many people a day. We've got work to do. And here's what I'm learning. I'm learning that all the marketing that's going out there is making people very good students, and they're learning great stuff. And people are learning things like Tripwire, upsell page, main product, the 497, and they think that they've got to get out like this, mind map, if you will, or this process map of getting all of these things done in their businesses. And we had a guy today. We coached him, and all he wanted to do was have 15 customers that pay him $34,000 a year. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but it's not, because he already has 3 or 4. Another 2 are coming on. So he's on his way to 5, and he only needs 10. And he was like, so I'm thinking of setting up a Tripwire, and then after the Tripwire, I'm gonna have this video. And basically, Andy and I said to him, setting up these types of businesses is for automation. And that's when you have you have a low-end product that you want to lead and build up and all these different things. It's a type of marketing. But why would you spend 3 months setting up that business that in a week can get you the other 10 clients? You can't scale, and all you want is 15. You don't want to do group coaching, and you have a lifestyle type business. I told him basically what you have is a well outside, and when your house runs out of water, when you go from 15 clients to 4 clients, you go back on, you pump the well, you get water, you go back in, you stop using the well. So I said to him, really all you need to do is be doing a webinar, and you can automate it or do it live, and every time that you're ready to go out and get another 3 clients, you do a webinar for 2 weeks, gather 500-600 people on it or whatever you can get on, do the application process, find your next 2 clients, and shut down your marketing. And he was like, wow. Because I've taken all these courses, and basically the advice here to that is that just because we learn it doesn't mean we have to use it. About 11 out of the 12 people we spoke to right now, we gave the same advice. Everything you're doing right now that you're trying to build can be done by setting up a webinar. And by the time we were done explaining to them, they realized, wow, I don't have to worry about landing pages. You guys have it. I just got to get the traffic. I just got to show up, so I don't have to learn copywriting. I can train and teach. People are going to love me, and then I can say, here's how you can work with me. I love it, and it's that simple. So that's the point here. It's safer than doing a product launch. Now, while we love product launches and they have their places, certainly to do video 1, video 2, video 3, become a video boss, learn how to get this right, get all your JV partners promoting them, and then have this, add to cart button sales video that's going to go for 20-30 minutes. Guys, it takes 18 minutes sometimes just to say what's in the course. It took me 20 minutes to tell you what was in Webinar Control. So literally, if I was doing a VSL and say, here's what you get in Webinar Control, it would be a 20-minute video. So sales videos are inherently going to be 35, 40 minutes. They take a while. Yvette, you saw Audio Boss. That was a 40-minute video. 40 minutes, 5 minutes intro, 15 minutes of concept, another 10 minutes of what's inside the modules, and then another 20 minutes, to tell you what you're getting. It's getting more and more difficult to build value, and webinars allow you to do. You have a captive audience. So what I was doing here in character was telling people, I'm telling them this is the best way to be marketing. So if you have competition, like if let's say that you're teaching people how to do financial investments, and you're saying, my software does it for you. Well, then it's safer than having to learn how to do it on your own. All you have to do is turn the software on and wait for the green buttons to point up, and that's when you buy, and you sell when the green buttons are pointing down or whatever, right? And then if you've got something even better, you could say something like, and you don't even have to worry about logging into the software. Maybe you want to spend time with the family and kids. Let us invest your money, and for 10%, we'll do all the investing for you, right? So that's you're kind of justifying and showing some of the promised land and the ease and making sense of using your product, okay? Rogerio, yeah, just to let you know, you purchased it, you wanted the consulting. We had a couple of people that when we told them that, they said, I want to waive the refund period, and they started over. Then they waived it, and we had so many people waive the refund period that we're not doing that anymore. Rogerio's asking, he's one of those students that got the coaching. We told people they had to wait the 30 days. Many people said, I need the coaching now, I'll waive my refund. All right, so Mitchell, I bought that bonus from you and Andy. From the Brendan offer, how do I schedule? Just go to marketinggenesis.com, go to the top or the bottom of the page, click on support, put your support ticket in, and then you'll get with the people on our team, and they'll schedule that with you. All right? All right, guys, if there's anything else, let me know. If not, I'm going to keep moving on to keep the momentum going here. So now what I'm doing is I'm establishing the price of Webinar Control by itself. Webinar Control is $1,997. Now, I'm in a very crowded information market. These courses come around all the time. I would recommend, if you have something that is unique, okay? If you have something that's unique, here is where you would do something that's called a price anchor, okay? And a price anchor means there's not a lot of competition in your industry, but there's maybe one or two, and you do the Ron Popeil close here. And Ron Popeil, if you know, he's a very famous, as seen on TV, television personality. You know, he invented all those, you know, crazy pocket fisherman, hair in a can, and the rotisserie gold. And here what you want to do, I didn't do it here, because I can't say something like, you've probably seen courses that do similar things sell for about $5,000 to $10,000. It's just not the case, and I don't want to say these things just to say it and insult the audience. $19.97, this is a reasonable value for me to start with. Many people have courses for $19.97. But if this was Webinar Jam, at this point I would say something like this. Now, you've probably seen software out there that has similar features, but doesn't even do half of all of the new and innovative things that Webinar Jam does, such as X, Y, and Z, and sell for up to 10 times the price. For instance, one of our competitors cost $4.99 a month, and they only allow you 1,000 people, not unlimited. Well, at $500 a month, that's costing you almost $6,000 a year, and again, it doesn't even do many of the features that we do. Okay, so there are two ways to price anchor. One, as I just showed you, is to price anchor against other competition. And the other way to price anchor is to price anchor against yourself. All right? And that's where I'm setting the price here at $19.97, so I can set the expectations and then drop the price later. All right? And even if you set the price up against a competitor, like GoToWebinar, you can still drop it later. It's even better when you can do that. All right, so one other way that you want to do that, or that you've seen that done, for instance, with Ron Popeil's rotisserie gold, right? You've probably seen rotisseries sell in high-price catalogs and and specialty stores, because that's the only place you can find these things, or with this type of quality. Or maybe you've seen it in Sky Mall, and then you show the proof, selling for $1,499. And guess what? They're not as big, and they don't even do everything that we do. Well, don't worry. You're not going to be paying $1,499 today. And when you have something like that, I don't like all of the cross-outs on the slide, so take a note. This I like to do verbally. Okay, the final cross-out I leave for the slide. Here, you want to get through this quick. You don't want to be clicking that click button, dropping your price. You could say something like, you're not going to be paying $999. And you notice I laughed there. okay? And no, you're not even going to be paying $797. No, not $697. And no, not even $497. Not even $397. Today, if you purchase the Rotisserie Gold, you're going to be paying just $297. And guys, I'm in character and I'm in a mode, so I'm going to keep going because I want to sell you one of these things, and I'm going to show you how this works and why you end up buying something on an infomercial because of what I'm doing right now, and we're going to actually see that happen in the slides. So not even $497, not even $397, not $347. That's right, the price today. And you see, I'm joking. I'm not insulting you with the slashing all over. It's fun. You're laughing. Oh, he's getting to the point. This is getting exciting. Today you can get started for just $297. But that's not it. If you order today, you're also going to be getting this, the bonus knife, the Ginsu knife, the this, that, the other thing previously sold. That is a $497 value, yours if you order today. Ronco, right? And now I'm going to keep going here. The next thing is, but it gets even better than that. You can order today for 3 easy payments of only $99. But if you're one of the first 50 people to order today, we will take off the third payment for you, and that's making it just 2 payments of $99. So that means you're getting it for just $199. But wait, and then the crowd goes, there's more. That's right, I'm not done yet. Here's what I want to do. If you're also one of the first 50 people and you promise to tell just one person about how much you love it after you use it, we're going to throw in, and then boom, the big box comes right in front of them, a second Rotisserie Gold, absolutely free. All you have to do is order today. This is not available at the website. You'll get a second one free, and what does it make? It makes a great Christmas gift or wedding gift for mom or somebody in the family. What
you just pay shipping and handling.
What's that? Yeah. All you do is pay the additional shipping and handling. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, right? And then, and remember, you're getting the Ginsu knives, you're getting the Rotato potato cutter, you're getting, the additional gloves, and you're also getting the food dicer and the slicer. And here's the thing: if you're not happy with it, you send it back to us. We'll pay for the shipping and the knives and the Rotato and the gloves and the slicer dicer are all yours to keep as our gift. Okay, guys? So I hope what you saw, what I did right there, was basically do an irresistible offer. I've established credibility for the price of the product. I've made you agree that this is now a good deal. Then I even did it even better by making it even easier for you to get it into your hands with a payment plan. And then I gave you incentive to buy now and not at the website by knocking off one of those payments if you bought today. And then I throw in some bonuses, and then I throw in my mega bonus. The holy cow, are you friggin' nuts? You're going to give me a second one free. All I've got to do is pay the shipping and handling charges. And then on top of that, you're telling me that there's a guarantee, and if I don't like it, I ship everything back on your expense, and these bonuses are mine to keep. I'm ready to buy right now. Okay, so Vet Mike, are you serious? We should do that. I will freeze in front of the camera. Absolutely, you would want to do this. So I'm going to move now back to the slides. And show you how this worked here with Webinar Control. Okay, and you're seeing my slides, right, Sean? Not me.
Yes, seeing the slides.
All right. So now I'm bringing up my bonus. So here's my first bonus. I put the bonus on the screen. I give the credibility to the bonus, and I read the bullet points. I'm not going to do all this at this point. Okay. Get bullets from Sean. You're actually seeing what we've dealt with. So now this is called the stack. What are you noticing here? I had the previous product, Webinar Control, $1,997 value. Lifetime access to Control Writer, that's the thing that I just shared with you. With an unlimited share license, $997 value. I'm bringing up a value so later I can say this is a total value of. Okay, so now I've got another bonus for you. This is the Offer Control Bonus Framework. I give this all the credibility it deserves, where it came from, what it'll do for you in your business. Here's what it looks like, and I'm stacking my slides. I keep going back to this slide, and then I read it like this. Okay, so I'm going to come back from the previous slide. So you're also going to get the Videogenesis framework. This is a complete, etc., etc., etc. Oh, actually, I didn't go backwards. Sorry, guys. The offer control framework, it will do X, Y, Z. And so here's, I'll stay in character here. So again, you're getting Webinar Control, a $1,997 value, lifetime access to the Control Writer software with an unlimited share license, $997 value. You're getting the Offer Control framework plus training, that's a $997 value, but I'm still not done. I have some more for you. You're also going to get access to something that we call the Videogenesis framework. I'm now going to tell you what it's about. You get all this and an extra hidden bonus that you guys didn't even know. I'm out of character right now. You guys actually got access to Videogenesis. It wasn't even promised in the course. We actually just gave you Videogenesis. So I don't know if you know that, if this is the first time on your call when you log in the members area. It was too much for us to break out some of this content and build another portal. We just said, let's just give it to them. Okay, and we were happy to do so. Here's what the framework looks like. So let's see where we're at. Webinar Control. You're getting lifetime access to the Control Writer software, the Offer Control framework plus the training, and now the Videogenesis launch framework plus the training. That's a $997 value. Guys, so now we're up to about $4,000, but I'm still not done. Okay, because we want to give you the Webinar Genesis training. I go on, I tell you about how awesome it is, 8 hours of stuff, it's great, it'll do this, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And many of you, Yvette, I know you and Rogerio, you went through it, you really loved it, and then you got even more training from here. I build the value to that, and I'll say things like, so, hey, Scott, just realize it. Yeah, check the members area, Videogenesis, it's in there for you. So then you will say things like this. So again, let's see where we're at now. You're getting Webinar Control, lifetime access to Control Writer, Offer Control, Videogenesis framework, the Webinar Genesis training, which by itself is just a $497 value, but we're still not done. We want to give you VSL Genesis, and here's why. Because this, that, the other thing, it will do this, and we've actually blah, blah, blah. There'll be a framework built out for this as well, all these different things. Okay? And so here's where we're at right now. The customer's starting to realize, wow, we're getting to the end. The slides are filling up. We're at Webinar Control, lifetime. I read the entire slide again. Video Sales Letter, Genesis, VSL Genesis, a $497 value. Are we done yet? Let's see. No, we are not done. You're going to get access to Webinar University. Now, this is the 26 people, et cetera, et cetera. I sell the people on it. This is a library for you to go through and check your interviews with Jason Fladley and Brendan Bouchard and Jeff Walker and Russell Brunson and Onyx Agala and Mike Koenigs and Pam Henderson and listing off those people. Would it be better for me to have a slide? Did I have a slide here? Yes, I did. Okay, and showing all the people there. You see Ed Dale and Brendan Bouchard and Onyx Agala and all these different people. You're going to learn from all of them. Okay. For instance, we've taken notes for you, and again, I'm not going to do this now because you've guys seen this, but I continue to sell on this. It's hard for me to break out a character here. I really should just go through the slides. I think you get that. All right? So Webinar University includes all the notes, the mind maps, additional bonus trainings from Mike Filsaime, Andy Jenkins. Well, let's see where we're on now. Webinar, blah, blah, blah. I would have read through this entire slide. I know this seems monotonous, but it's not. This is where you're making the sale, guys. This is where you're making the sale. You're getting people to realize, I would buy this just for the bonuses. We have Sven, he was on our call today. He said to us, actually, guys, Andy said to him, do you know Frank Kern? He goes, actually, I bought High Performance Academy from Frank the day before you because he did the webinar the day before you. And we said, so why'd you buy it from us? He says, I bought it again, and I didn't refund because I just wanted your bonus. Right? So when you can make your bonuses so good, people will want to buy, sometimes just for the bonuses. Right? Webinar University, the reason why I say priceless is because it's true. Webinar University is something that we did to put out there to the marketplace. Nobody knows about it yet, so that we can educate people on webinars. Why should we just keep those videos hidden on YouTube? And why leave them on YouTube? Let's put them in a place where people can find it. But nobody's paying for it. So what we did there is we put priceless because it is. If you go through it, it could be priceless in the right person. All right. So, Webinar Control, 1997, with the lifetime access to the Control Writer software, which you guys just saw. It's awesome. Offer Control Framework will be included in there. We're going to do training on that. Video Genesis Framework, there's training available for that. Webinar Genesis training. Video, if you ever want to do a video sales letter, we're throwing that in. And Webinar University, guys. And Video Genesis included in there, plus behind the scenes of Video Genesis. That's a total real world value. Other people have paid for this stuff would be $4,985. Okay. Now, list building. If you did, okay. So obviously, I did this a month ago. I'm not prepared for my slides here. So now what I'm doing is this is what we spoke about the other day. Remember we said we want to get people typing into the webinar. This is the do the math slides. So if you did one webinar per week where 500 people registered, that would be a new list of 26,000 people per year that you could email every single day. You could email those people. Is that pretty cool? See, guys, webinars are the best way to also build a list. What is this? This is called a collateral benefit of your product. Simply by doing my product, it has this collateral benefit that's going to give you a list that you can market to in other ways. Okay? So here's a question for you. If the Webinar Control Framework did everything that we promise, how much money would you make if on your first webinar, if you have 200 people and you had a 10% conversion, meaning you made 20 sales, and they purchased your product? And then I said this. Now, I don't know the price of your product. It could be $97 or $47 or $197 or $500, all right? But what would that mean to you? And then I would say type that in the chat. Now, if somebody had a $500 product and they did 20 sales, they would bring in $10,000. So they were typing in $10,000. And I said, great, fantastic. Well, keep in mind, that does not even include the fact that you would do the encore strategy that we just showed you, where you make more money on Friday and with your scarcity replay pages. Okay? And note, that would be just one webinar. What if you did one webinar every other week? Or about 20 webinars per year. Now multiply those numbers that I'm seeing in the chat by 20. Well, for Dawn, she said 10,000. That would be $200,000 a year. And here I'm not going to go too crazy. I don't want to. I think they're getting the point, and I don't want to be saucy, right? And like throwing out those income claims. I want to keep things grounded in reality. But these numbers are real, 100%. I have a screenshot on my my other laptop that I'm going to just drag into. Bear with me just a second, guys. Boom. I'm going to drag it into Dropbox and share that link with you. Just be one more second.
While you're doing that, Mike, it's a good time to point out there are a couple of good questions. Vet is bringing up something very interesting. I think it's worth addressing just sort of as we go through this whole thing. And I think it's the idea of style and delivery.
Yeah, I heard I don't think I could do that, right?
But even more than that, she expanded on that because I think it's important to emphasize that it's not so much only about the delivery itself. It's about the way the stacks are sliding and that they're where the slides are stacking and the way it's organized and laid out and the way it's delivered. So she's just asking, I see the stack strategy, I get that, I'm just not comfortable with the salesy infomercial style. If I make my offer in a soft tone, just showing the stack bonuses, will it still be effective in your opinion?
Oh, okay, so first of all, absolutely. I try not to be as enthusiastic as I was certainly in that Ron Popeil part, where I was like, you're not going to. So if I'm having fun with you guys, and when I say you guys, if I'm on a webinar and I'm feeling the connection with people, it's a fun part of the webinar, I will bring out a little bit of that personality, and I will say something like, "Ooh, I'm going old school Ron Popeil here," and then I'll probably tone it down from there if I see that going on. Would I say, "But wait, there's more"? It really depends. On a webinar, if we're having a good time and there was chat and everybody's loving it and they're like, "This is so much fun, your energy's great," I might. If I'm seeing, "Hey, get to the point, you promised me, an hour. I'm not going to do anything like that. In fact, I'm going to probably get much more straight to the point. If I'm at a live event and we're having fun with the crowd and it's late in the day and we're laughing and they're laughing, I might say, but wait, and hold my finger to my ear and have them go, there's more, and say, of course there's more. There's always more. You guys know how this works. I've got bonuses for you, so let's see what they are, right? I'll break down that wall, that fourth wall of transparency and things like that. So the way that I'm in character here, guys, for you, one thing I can tell you is don't ever try to be anybody else and don't try to be me. Be yourself, all right? Always be yourself. People they know what you're like when you get excited, and if when you get excited it's pretty much like this, hey, I'm pretty excited to show something to you, then that's all it's going to be. I think what comes out the worst is when you're trying to be something that you're not. So I'm certainly doing this in my voice and in my personality, but the slides will be yours, and you'll do them the way that you feel comfortable. Okay? If you don't like running down the bonus stack every single time and saying, so where are we at? You can just go, so where are we at now? Cool. As you can see, we've added one more thing on there, and it's building up. Let's go on to my next bonus for you. And one of the things that Sean, remind me when we get to this, I want to talk about where the bonuses come from and how they're used and how they handle objections. Okay? Let me share my screen with you real quick. And this would be, okay, this is a guy, are you seeing this, guys?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, this is a guy, I'm on with Donna on the right, Andy on the left, and I'm down there, can we just mute there, Sean? Sorry.
Yep.
No problem. And the guy has EverWebinar. And we want to interview our EverWebinar customers that are in beta, and we saw that about 20 people actually built a webinar and had more than 100 people register for their webinar. Donna reached out to every one of them, and we want feedback. How did you like it? Was it intuitive? Any features you need? And this is one of these feedback calls. And at the end, he says, can I show you the results that we've had in just 2 weeks with your software? And then he holds this up to the camera, and then he put it back down. I said, wait, put that back up. I wanted to get a screenshot for it, and he made $146,000, using webinar techniques with EverWebinar. Now, I absolutely have to say here, results not typical. My point is that I have to know what is a median success level. What do the top 10% do? What do the 5% do? And I'm going to go back to my slides here, and I think it's quite believable that there are a lot of people that make money with webinars. So when I can use liberty when I'm showing my testimonials and my case studies and saying things like, what if you did 20 webinars a year? What if you automated this? I don't think that there's anybody that's been around internet marketing for a year that would have been on that webinar, or anybody that purchased that product, that doesn't say, no, I get it. If I can figure out the traffic and I get the JV partners and I do this, yeah, this is certainly something that's attainable. I could be able to do 20 sales a week at $997. I want that to happen. It'll be the greatest thing in the world, but he's not pulling my leg. All right, so I have to keep that in mind when I'm talking about doing the math, right? And certainly you will too. You've got to keep that within their belief, their belief structure. Okay, so let's move on here. Final question: if you made that income on an annual, if you made that annual income, you just typed in after taking the webinar control training. Let me redo that again. If you made that annual income that you just typed in the chat after taking the webinar control training, would that be worth $4,985, assuming you had the money, right? And then I would say something like, now guys, you should all be saying yes right now, and don't worry, I'm not going to be charging you $4,985, but the right answer is yes. If it was able to give you the money that you just typed in and the price was $5,000, that would be worth it. So what I'm doing now is what we spoke about last week, I'm getting them to realize that this is not a cost and that this is an investment and that everything we do in life has a return on investment. That's all, okay? And then we move on to the next slide. Awesome, great. What that means is you want this program no matter what. So my job now is to make it affordable for you. So it's just about the investment cost and whether or not you can afford it. Get down, Bloggy. I'm going to have to put my cats away before I do these calls. So I go over here like this, and I say, well, here's the deal. Webinar Control by itself is $1,997. The total value with all those other things is $4,985. You're going to save $2,988 today. That's like getting all of the bonus training in there absolutely free. So your final price will be $1,997. And now, guys, that's going to be the public price. And now we established this price, that this is what the price is going to be. And it is. That's what we're going to later go out with. And then the next slide, I would assume, is giving you that final discount or bringing out that additional oven and putting it on the table right now. All right? So here's a special for this webinar. On this webinar. Now, guys, I want to talk about how you can use words. You'll certainly do this as comfortable as you feel, right? I'm saying on this webinar. I didn't say on this webinar only, right? It doesn't say that I can't do this webinar again on Friday and that I can't offer this until Saturday and Sunday on a replay. So on this webinar, you could save $1,000. I can then do the webinar again on Friday and say, on this webinar, you save $1,000. I don't want to say things like, now, on this webinar and this webinar only, once this webinar expires, the price will go to. I have painted myself into an ethical corner, and I will have to oblige by that. I will have to raise the price after that. So I don't want to do that. I'm making a special on this webinar. That's the same thing as when you're listening to a commercial and they say, you know, and if you order now in the next 10 minutes, right, or during this special introductory offer, that commercial may run 15 times while you're watching, Master Chef, right? So save $1,000 on this webinar. Here's how it works. If you promise to share your case study with us after you go through the course and apply what we teach you and have the success that we want to have for you, you will then be a leader in your industry. All we ask is that you allow us to use your success as a case study. Now, this is doing two things. It's future pacing your success. It's making it that I'm taking that as a matter of fact, and I should, and you should too, because you have to believe that when people go through your training and do everything that you say that they should do or use your software, they should be able to get the results that you're promising, right? All we ask is that you allow us to use your success as a case study. And now I have to justify this a little bit. You see, guys, we're later going to go out at $1,997. The thing is, we don't have any case studies. That's going to be your advantage today when we can go out and put 20, 30, 50 case studies out there from you guys, your success. That's going to further validate this program, and it's going to be very easy for us to roll that out for a launch or webinars at $1,997. Okay, so you have to find your reason why to drop the discount for on this webinar. The reason why does not matter other than the fact that you need a reason why. Okay? Now, I don't want you to say things like, because I'm in a good mood. You can get away with that, but just put a little more effort into it, right? Getting case studies, I found is very, very good. You can say things. I'm sure you've heard this. In order for me to work with Brendan, he said that I had to do something special for his list. Now, let me tell you, I really wanted to work with Brendan, but I've never done this before. And if that's the case, put it all around the truth, right? He's asked me to make a special for you guys today. That's the reason why. So let's move on here. So let's go over it one last time. You're getting this value, this, that, the other thing. I'm going to save us some time here and not read that, but I would if I was in character. Again, I'm building the value. I want to make sure you would not be surprised how many times people say, can you just go over that one more time? What you're getting? What was the Video Genesis framework? The sales letter. So I don't mind doing this over and over again. Okay. So now, guys, this Total was a $4,985 value. We're saving you all the bonuses. So the price that we're going to take it out to the market, you're getting all of those bonuses for free. Would be $19.97. On this webinar, you get to save the $1,000. What I'm doing is I'm doing the math on this slide, and I'm giving my final price. So your special today only is $997. Okay, and here I show them how they can pay in full. At this point, I talk about bill me later. Do you guys need me to talk about bill me later, or do you know how it works? If you want me to talk about bill me later, I'll let you know. I think we did the other day. I kind of feel like we did, or maybe I was on a webinar with Anik. I don't know. I feel like we did.
We didn't cover it in this round of training, but certainly talked about it in the in the training that's available in the portal.
It only takes me 2 minutes to explain it.
Go for it.
Here's how it works. If your shopping cart at your checkout is taking PayPal, at that time, you can use bill me later no matter where you live in the world. Okay? So here's how it works. And somebody says, no, got it. But in case some other people don't, I'll go over it anyway. It'll take me less than 90 seconds. Nothing has to be done on your part. No configuration has to be done in your shopping cart. Nothing has to be done at your PayPal account. PayPal bill me later or PayPal credit is something that anyone can apply for at any time. It takes about 3 seconds to get approved, and they can get approved for up to $5,000 or $10,000. It's not specific to your product. They're not applying to buy your product. It's nothing like that. And it's available every single time somebody is checking out. Now, there are some caveats. The customer must be a U.S. resident. The customer must have qualified credit, and it can only be for a price point over $100, and it cannot be for anything that has a payment plan. So if it's 3 payments of $397, no, they can't use it. If it's ongoing payments of $497 a year, no, they can't use it. If it's $497 a month, no, they can't use it. If it's a one-time charge over $100, they live in the U.S., and they have credit, well, then they can qualify for using PayPal credit. Here's the way it works. There's no payments and no interest for 6 months. So they get access today for no cost out of their own pocket. If they don't pay back after 6 months, then they start paying interest. And all of that stuff is at PayPal's terms of service. They go over that. I believe the interest goes back to day 1. So we always verbally say things like, no payments, no interest, as long as you pay it off in full within 6 months. So that's important. We want to, make sure. But the bottom line is they're getting access today, and this can increase your conversions by as much as 20% on high-ticket prices. And high-ticket, I mean $197 or more. All right. So I put it into every presentation. It's nothing I'm doing. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and go, "How did you do that?" I'm like, dude, PayPal's asking them when they're checking out. I'm just making them aware. I go so far as to, we will put the video if you want, okay, inside of the members area. I go so far as to do this, and hopefully I'm sharing my screen here.
Yeah, we can see it. To actually show them how to use it.
Yeah, what I do is I actually have a little section like this, and I have a video tutorial, and I just walk them through the checkout. And after you click Next Step, you're going to be going to the Deal Guardian order page. You have 2 options here, PayPal and credit card. Now remember, the Bill Me Later is available only with PayPal, and again, only to U.S. residents. You will click the PayPal option here, click the Next button, and you're going to be redirected to PayPal. Okay, once at PayPal, if you don't have a PayPal account, you can simply click here to choose the Bill Me Later option while you create an account. But most of you will already have a PayPal account. So what you simply do is log in. Okay, once you get here, what you want to do is click the Bill Me Later option. Now, if you want to see the terms, you simply click here, and a window will show up explaining all the terms for the 6 months on the Bill Me Later for purchases over $99. And you simply click Sign Up and Continue. Once you log in, it's going to ask you to confirm your address. It'll ask for your social security number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a video. So we'll get you that resource video. It's on my YouTube channel, and we'll give that to you if you want to copy the format for it. I recommend that you do this. So let's move on here on this slide. So now I'm showing them an alternate way to pay. So what I've done now is I've set up an alternate way to pay. And I like to do this because it allows me to introduce the payment plan. Why? Because I'm showing people that there's a way to finance this, but there is a caveat, right? You have to live in the U.S., and we always say that's PayPal's rules, not ours, and you have to have qualified credit. Now, if any of those two aren't true, don't worry, we have something else for you, okay? We also have payment plans. We'll finance this for you. You can also get started today for just one payment of $397. Now, guys, from this point on in the webinar, I'm closing at $397, $397 the whole time. Okay, I'm always going to be closing at $397. So I'm going to be like, so remember, guys, you can get started today for as little as $397. Of course, you can pay in full at $997, but I'm going to start really getting to the fact that they can get everything they want out of life, out of my course for $397. And of course, there's the PayPal Bill Me Later. I'll keep singing that back and forth. Yvette is telling me, Mike, Sean sent you a private message. Sent a private. Okay, yeah, I'll check all that out, Yvette, when we break for questions.
There's some other questions, though, Mike. When you're done with this segment, I'll bring them up.
I'll wrap this up right now. Here's where I bring in the guarantee. After I've done all my bonuses, after I've done all my prices and everything, I do my guarantee. This is a traditional, no questions asked, 30-day refund guarantee. If you're not happy, blah, 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 blah. Now, every now and then you can put a performance guarantee. You could be like, if you don't get this result and you actually go through all the trainings, if you show up on every training and show us this and show us that you actually built a webinar and did the live webinar and didn't get these results, we will triple your money back. That's how much we believe this will work, right? So that's called a risk reversal guarantee. That not only are we going to give you your money back, but if it doesn't do what we say, we're gonna double your money back, right? And those are good, okay? So this is a recap slide, okay? And now I'm giving the final price with the payment plan and the Bill Me Later. And at this point, I think I'm done. I'm just now at this point I'm basically talking about when the training starts. These are the types of things that are usually going in the chat. When does the training start? So I want to confirm. We're starting here. It's for the first 50 people. We'll sell out before the webinar ends, so you need to act now. It's only available during the webinar. Take advantage right now. Thousands of dollars in special bonuses. It's all recap, and at this point I went back to training, but at this point we would go to Q&A. So I'm going to break so we can actually do Q&A, and then we're going to talk about Q&A strategies and how you go back and reclose. So Sean, you had some cues up for us?
Yeah, there's some really good ones. So coming back, taking it back to really just the whole idea of the pricing and pegging that $997 for the 1,000 off. Linda basically was asking, how long can you use this strategy? Is there a reasonable time limit to when you can raise the price?
Yes, that's a great question. So if you want to evergreen this strategy, what I would recommend you do is you say something like this. This price is guaranteed through the end of this webinar. Now, we reserve the right to raise the price, and we have every intention to do that. We don't know when that's going to be, but that could be next week. It could be next month. Of course, it could be next year, but we're looking to raise the price much sooner than that. So keep in mind that we may be raising the price. However, these bonuses that I'm giving and that Sean is giving, so that's the nice thing about having a JV partner. They throw in an additional bonus. That is only available on this webinar right now. Okay, so let me give some examples of how we do that, right? Ethically.
Yep, which actually leads to Vince's question. It's somewhat related, so I'll just read it while you're doing that. Vince says, I get the idea of offering the 1,000 off in return for reviews, case studies, any other techniques like that for launching totally new products with no existing testimonials. By the way, this entire training has been some of the best I've ever taken. Thanks, Vince.
Vince, thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. While I was loading that page, Sean, again, I was only 80% there. He was saying, so if he's never done this before, what's a way to
what you were just going to explain, Mike, and give your example, because it's going to answer part of Vincent's question too.
Yeah, let me show you. What is the price here for Webinar Jam? $397. Now, some of you may have paid that. I believe most of you maybe paid $297 a year. And we told those people that the price was going up after, right? And what was the price, Sean? Do you remember before it was $297 a year?
I believe it was $297 lifetime offer.
For 10 days, when we first introduced it in March of 2014, it was $297 for life. And we told people the price is going to be going up after this. And we immediately raised it to $297 a year. And then we had a countdown timer that said that this price of $297 is guaranteed, as you see just like right here, this special offer is guaranteed until midnight tonight. We might take it down thereafter. We might take this bonus away. Or the price may go up to save $100. Why? Because it's the truth. We are raising our price to $497 in a few months. And one day, somebody will read this, and the next day they're going to come, and it's going to be $497. So all we're saying is this is guaranteed until midnight, and it's a very ethical thing to do. Now, we used to be $297 a year. I think many of you guys remember that because that's what you're paying, and you're happy. Wow, I actually got in, right? Tom's saying I got in at lifetime. So when we have people saying it's guaranteed at $297 until midnight, there was one day, there was a guy that says, he probably says that every day, and he came back the next day and saw it's $397, and that's the way it is, and we're going to raise the price to $497. And we're going to do the same thing with EverWebinar. We're going to do an internal launch to customers of Webinar Jam. We're going to say you've got 2 days to get it at $197 a year, and after that, the internal launch will go to the launch to the public will be $297 a year, and the day after the launch, we're going to $397 a year. So that's how you do that, Vince. You guarantee the price until midnight tonight, or we reserve the right to raise the price later, and here's why we're going to do that. Here's why it's low today. We want to get case studies and so on and so forth. Anything else, Sean?
Well, yeah, just if I could, just a little expansion even more on that. I think you said something earlier, Mike, that was really valuable, and that's just to really understand the words that you're using. And what typically happens for a lot of people when they start getting newer to marketing, or they really start to learn how to market their products online or in other arenas, is that there's sort of this lack of comfort with what you need to say, or you get very much to the letter of the law, and obviously we always want to make sure that we're operating ethically and we're not ever saying anything that's untrue. What happens though is that as you start to get better and better at this, and you understand the power of the mediums that you have to use, you learn that it starts getting fun to be creative about this. And so what I know Mitch and I, we talk about this all the time of well, what can we say that is 100% grounded in truth, that creatively allows us to do these different kind of promotions.
You're 100% right. Look, Sean, you are so right here. We have to remember at the end of the day, we want to do good because we believe in our products, and we also want to market ethically. People are aware of sales. People only buy during sales. Nobody likes to buy retail. Look, that's why there's Black Friday. That's why there was Amazon Prime Day. That's why there's the day after Christmas sale, right? There's sales. They are literally reason why sales. People buy things, and then later they find out, oh wow, I just bought Cheerios. Came back next week. They were they were half price. Sales come and go. We don't curse the sales. We embrace them. So if you're giving somebody an opportunity to buy and get good value and get a good discount, they're only going to say thank you. Where you really run the risk, and you cannot do this, when you position something as quote-unquote ground floor, and you start saying things like, I'm only going to be offering 50 licenses in the United States because I believe if there's too much competition, it can dilute your opportunity to have success with this program. Now you have to limit that to 50 people. You have to, right? The fact that there's somebody in Australia doing webinars on Forex and somebody doing webinars in South Carolina on holistic healing, it's not going to affect people, the amount of people that have the knowledge of this information. Am I going to say things like, for the first 50 people? Yes, I am. Am I going to take 60? Of course I will. Am I going to do the webinar on Friday again? Yes. If I know it's a 4-day promotion, I will say things even like, we're only doing this for 4 days or whatever, because we do have to keep the room limited, because I'm going to be doing Q&A and I want to give everybody attention. There's truth everywhere in there. But I think you have to market certainly where you feel you feel comfortable. What I've learned is that when I do my product launch and my shopping cart is expiring, at 2 a.m. Pacific time, and every time I refresh, literally 18 sales are coming in. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. At 2 a.m., who am I hurting? If I have 300 people at my website that want to buy Webinar Jam, and I shut the thing off during the product launch, and I could make another 300 or 600 sales by leaving my cart open for a half hour, does it affect you that somebody paid $297 instead of $397? I think many of you are going to be like, oh gosh, I would think that would be terrible. You'd want them to get it at the $297, right? So and the person that buys it is happy. They're like, whoo, oh my goodness, I actually got there late. I closed email. I got the email late, and lucky for me, I got it. And then a half hour later, I shut the cart off. Okay, guys, I'm just being transparent with you. These are the things that I'm going to do. It's very difficult if the sales are literally flying in at the end of a product launch, and you realize that if I hit this button right now compared to a half hour from now, that's the difference between $130,000.
Yeah, and the analogy I would use to that, everyone, and Mike, is just think about the way restaurants or retail stores operate. If the customers are already in the store, they don't kick you out.
Yeah.
Anyone who is in the lobby, who's in the store, sitting down to eat, when the store closes.
And how often do you see in television commercials, extended one more day,
right?
Extended through Friday, right? Things get extended. So here's the thing, and we'll sum this up and move on. I've never, ever had one person come to my help desk and say, I'm upset that you let me buy the product yesterday at the discount price. Right?
Right.
So here's the thing. No, people that have an opportunity to buy never complain. Right? What you don't want to do, and I know what you guys are fearing, and great questions, you never want to play it out where it's like, hey, you were just doing this last week with so-and-so and last week with so-and-so, and you said this webinar only, the price would never be this price again, and here you are making the same pitch every week. Can't do that. You can't paint yourself in those corners. Use the traditional, here's why I'm saving you the money, this price is guaranteed on this webinar, and you're also getting Sean's bonus, he's going to throw this in, and the important thing is people are on your webinar, they see the value, they see what it's going to do for them, they like the price, they got a guarantee they're going to get great bonuses, and they buy. And that's it. Try not to think too much more into it. All right? Anything else, Sean?
Yes, there's a couple.
Yeah, I'm here. Let's do them. Knock them out.
And let's see. Okay, so Linda's asking a practical question. Will you label these videos by date and what's covered in the members area? I assume Linda means just all the trainings.
Yes, they are. Yep.
The answer, Linda, is yes, that they are organized and grouped by what's covered. Once the training is all complete in the coming weeks, we'll try to add some additional descriptions if everyone feels that will be extra helpful. But they are sort of grouped by the topic, so we'll make sure everyone knows exactly what was covered.
Yeah, and we also give some resources, like so we try to give the slides that we taught that day, or if there's resources that that are referenced, we try to make sure that we get that in there for you as well. And if you got on here late, the PowerPoint slide that we went through today, in full animation, are going to be giving to you in Keynote and PowerPoint as well.
Yep, exactly. Okay, let's see. Mitchell's asking, are you telling them on the webinar Wednesday when the offer ends?
Yeah. No. That's a great question. Okay, so in the terms of the webinar control framework, meaning you do a webinar Wednesday, a webinar Friday, and a scarcity replay page on Saturday and Sunday, who asked that question? Give that person a prize.
Mitchell.
Mitchell, that is a great question, and the answer is no. And you can accidentally, because you have the curse of knowledge, that you're doing this, and that you're mailing out a replay in an hour or whatever, or, you know what I mean, that you accidentally slip, or somebody in your moderator staff slips, or your JV partner also slips and says something now, guys, this is good until Sunday, right, Mike? They can buy this up until Sunday. Wow, right? The only point that I'm trying to make to you is we never want to give someone a reason not to buy right now. We want to let them know that, hey, you're here live, and remember what I said before. This price is good. Is good while we're on this webinar. I don't say only while we're on this webinar. Okay, and that's the way that I use it. Again, guys, nobody's going to be upset that they buy. Nobody's going to be upset that they buy. They might be. Here's where I think people get upset that they buy. That's why I have my price points and I have my bill me later always available at the checkout page, even though I don't talk about it yet in my slides. They'll go there, they'll find it. I'm not a fan of this, and this is just me. I've had webinars that I've done with people and I say, I don't like it, please change it, where they say, the price is $997, and they do the Q&A, and then they seed the Q&A at the end, and they say, somebody's asking me for a payment plan. Here's a link if you want the payment plan. I don't like that. They do that for cash flow. They want to, quote unquote, milk the money for getting more money up front, and here's why. I don't blame them. The highest refunds come from the payment plan people, and only 50% of the payment plan, well, you only collect 50% of the money in the payment plan. So I understand why they do that. The only thing I just don't like to do is, you know, we've got a budget. We all have budgets in life, right? And if you really like the program and you get in for $997, but, you know, suddenly you can't buy that airline ticket next week, and then you find out that there was a payment plan, I just don't want to do that to my customer. So that's my own thing. So I like to bleed those things out, but when they get to the payment plan to the order page, it's always available. Any other questions?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot, so I'm going to be.
Yeah, there's a few, but Ron had a follow up to one just because it came up earlier. One slide does say today only in this case. So when we do it on the Wednesday webinar, and so in that context.
Yeah. I noticed that when I went through that, and I'm just gonna be completely upfront with you guys. This is a webinar that we did Wednesday. We got together, and Sean, you were staying at my house that week, so you know this to be true.
Yep.
We went to Andy's house, you and me, and we said, how can we do better? And we cut out 20 minutes. Mike, the bonus stack should be this way. Do this. Cut this out. Blah blah blah. All these different things. I started getting very, very sick, and I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning doing those slides, and it's literally, you know, cough, 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 get these things done, and then the webinar was 10 o'clock the next day. It's just the truth there, guys. Had I gone back, I probably would have taken that word today only out. Do I think it's criminal? You know, no.
I was going to say, Mike, now is probably a good time to address, because this is a subject that comes up in just about any possible training or any product promotion that ever comes up, and it's just about customers. You know, it's like it goes beyond the 80-20 rule, guys. It's like, you know, you're going to have, you know, 80% of your audience, and I'm going to just work with the audience of your normal customers who like you, work with you. They do other things in their life besides email support, you know, 10 times a day. Okay? Most people aren't going to call you on these. You're always going to have those outliers that 3-4%. They're the same people that are constantly looking for typos, looking to be cynical. They're looking to call you on it. And when those type of people call contact you in support, you know, our approach is just to, you know, to acknowledge it, not try to run away from it. Say, you're absolutely right. We apologize for that confusion. You know, what can we do to clarify or make it better for you? And then you just address it. And if people are going to have real major problems over it, you know, then you can always invite them to no longer be a customer.
And usually, guys, the people that give you problems, and maybe I've had one in 3 years.
Right.
You know, they're not your buyers. You're like I said, your buyers are happy. You just never want your buyer to feel duped. So what I did is I googled the Belcher button, and I see where it says regular price, and then it says today $97. So my price, that slide, and I'll edit it for you. And guys, make sure you remind me to edit it before I export it. I'm going to change that to say today. All right, that's an implied today only, right? But it's just today. And the Belcher button, and I was curious, I went back to see it. This was the traditional add to cart button that was all over the internet back from 2008 to 2012. That's it's a traditional way that you want to display the logos and a blue link and add to cart, regular price, cross it out today. And in my head, I probably thought it was today only, so it's just today. What else we got?
Okay, let's go. So Ed was asking a great question, which I was going to answer privately, but since we're getting to them all, Ed, how would you use a webinar to sell a free consulting session? What do you think of that strategy?
Many of the people we coached this week did that. I think that is a fantastic strategy. I would, and now it depends on how many people you can get on a webinar. Now, if you start getting too many people, what you start doing is you change that free consulting into an application process, and that price can be $100. And if you're getting too many applicants or the wrong applicants, you start raising that price to $300 or $500, and you start actually controlling what your schedule can do. At the beginning, you're probably going to want to do at least, say, an application and free consulting. So I like the application process. I like putting the power in front of you, right? I want it to be that here's your opportunity to work with me. If you look at Frank Kern's ads, they say on Facebook, here's an opportunity to work with me. You want to establish yourself as that credible person. One of the coaching people that we had, what he said is, in my coaching sessions, because he's a musician for independent artists, and he says, we said, what's the big problem? He says, after my webinars, what we end up doing is we end up shooting the shit about the industry, and we're talking about, labels and what Apple's doing and all these different things, and immediately I spotted the problem is he's leveling himself with them as a peer, and he doesn't want to, be the independent artist talking to an independent artist, because at the end the guy says, well, I just made a friend and I don't want to pay to have another friend. So you have to have the thing that goes in there and allows you to start establishing control on these sessions by asking questions. So tell me a little bit about your business as an independent artist. What are you currently doing? And now you're establishing control, and you want to make sure that you establish that credibility in the webinar, that it's I don't want to say so much a privilege to work for you, but it's great to have an opportunity to work for you. So if you think it'd be great to work with me, here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to give you a link to fill out an application, and obviously there's several hundred people on this webinar. I won't be able to meet with every one of you on Skype. So I want to get all the people that are serious about doing XYZ in their business. There's a $100 application fee. I'm going to refund that to you after we get off of the coaching session. Now, the application session will do two things. It'll see if you're right for me and if I feel that I'm right for you. If I don't think I can help you, I will let you know that I don't think I'm the right person for you. But it's putting you in control. So my call to action at the end of a webinar would be an application process that fills out information about them, make sure that the right client, also sells some benefits in the application that sells you even more. When you get them on, the free consultation course is basically you interviewing them about their current state, telling you where you can take them, and then at the end, again, this is 2000 Mike coming out from the automobile days. Guys, this is the toughest part, is you're talking to somebody on Skype, and now you have to close the deal. And I found the simplest way to not have to tell you how to be strong or close the deal is simply assume the sale. You've gotten them on a webinar, they've raised their hand, they've paid $100, they went through the application process. If you're quote-unquote feeling it, just say to them, so this is where I could take you, Jim. This is where I think we can go over the next 3 months or 6 months or whatever. So here's what I'm going to do now, as I told you on the webinar, the price to work, because they'll know the price ahead. You tell them on the webinar, the application process is this, to work with me will be $5,000 for 90 days or whatever it is. So if they're at this point, you simply say to them, so here's what I'm going to do now, Bill. I'm going to give you a link to start the coaching program. I'm going to send that to you in Skype, and then I'm not going to watch them pay it. I'm not going to put that pressure on them. And I would just say to them, and then after you pay it, I'll get in touch with you that same day, later today, and we'll set up your first coaching schedule. Does that sound great? And at that point, the guy will say, all right, I want to think about it. Okay, cool. Let him think about it. Talk to the spouse. Whatever needs to be done. People have that right. You don't want to be a hard closer right there. You'll have more applications. But at least at that point, you want to just transition straight into, I'm going to send you that link. Don't ask for permission. They may even ask you, so what's the next step? Then if they say that, you say, I'm going to send you a link to pay. And then we can schedule your next session. And I'm excited to work with you. All right?
If anyone ever asks the question, what's the next step on one of those calls, is how would you like to pay for this?
Yeah.
It's not so many words.
Yeah. Do you want me to send the link in Skype or your email or both?
Correct. That's it. And I'll just give you one other thing, because just a quick bonus on that is there are a lot of people who are selling coaching services, or they're just getting started in the coaching business, and they're a little hesitant even to do like that kind of application, Mike, because they don't have a product yet, or they're not really sure how they're going to coach them or what exactly they're going to do. And I can tell you that I know people in the industry. One of them is a very good friend of both of ours, Tom Beal, who had one of the most effective closes I've ever seen, just saying, look, guys, you know me, you know who I know, you know what I do, spend an hour with me. I promise it will be the best hour you have ever spent. If I can't help you personally, I guarantee I will be able to get you exactly where you need to go for your next steps.
Yeah.
And that becomes your $97 sale right there.
Doyle says, who do you refund to in the application process? You give it back to them after, if they don't want to work with you or it doesn't work out, you refund it to them anyway, and if not, you just take it off the initial first payment.
Okay, I didn't see Doyle's, but I did see the last one I saw on my list was...
That was on the left side of the chat.
Okay. Ruggerio's was, Mike, please expand on Ed's question. How do you advise promoting professional services, in my case, accounting, CPA, using webinars? I mean, promoting professional services that are offered as a monthly ongoing service, not a product or a training.
As a service, it's very much as a consultant, and you're looking for clients. So if there's a traditional button like at your website and it's a low price, the $97 thing, you can close right on the webinar. If as an accountant or a lawyer or something like that, where your prices will vary per person, or they're up there at $997 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month or something like that, I prefer the application process that we just spoke about. If you have unique cases for unique people, if your prices are going to vary, for different types of people. Let's say that you're an agency, right? Your price may be different. That's why many agencies don't have prices on their websites. It really depends. How much are you going to spend? Do you need us to do your website design and build your landing pages? So that's what's great about being able to do a webinar to get people on. Now, let me give you another strategy. Chet Holmes, the late Chet Holmes, he used to do this. He used to do webinars where he would drive traffic from radio, and he would give you 1 hour session of value of $997. You're getting a 1 hour session for only $97, and he would do these sessions 3 times a day, 3 days a week. So it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and he would do them at, let's say, 11, and then 1, and then at 3 o'clock. And in many cases, he had staff people doing these things, and he would only let 10 people on per webinar, and they would pay $47 to get in, and they would actually be in the room, and you could bring them all into the Hangout, with Webinar Jam Studio. Just add them all to the call at the bottom, and then you do, a presentation where you so here's tip number 1. Tip number 1 is you need to be doing this in order to get leads. So how many of you guys are doing that? I am 3, and how's that working out for you? Well, we're struggling here. Okay, so let me show you how this works, and you show them that. So that's tip number 1. If you guys were to execute just that, tell me what effect would that have in your business? You have everybody say that would probably increase our business by 10%, by 20%. Great, great, great. And then you go through the training. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. It's not really a webinar. It's more of like a coaching session for 10 people. And then at the end, the close is, so Jim, you just said that those 5 different things would add 30% additional revenue in your business Stacy, you said that it would add 40% revenue. All you guys. So the only next thing is obviously you guys would want to get more from us. We only had 1 hour. This is the type of stuff you can expect from us. So here's what we can offer you. If anybody is interested in working with us, what I'd like to do right now is I'm going to reach out, or you give them a way to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested in talking more about working with you, and then this is slightly more type of stuff where you got to get on Skype with the people and maybe close that deal, and you have to be comfortable, and I think if the type of person that's looking to be coaching people, you don't feel uncomfortable about getting face to face with people. To say here's our program. And again, this is when it's specific to different people. When I'm a business consultant in that Chet Holmes scenario, I have to know more about your business so that I can tell you what I can do for you and find out that I'm the right person and set your expectations.
Right. With that, we're caught up with one last question. Ed just sort of had a follow-up, and there's a couple opinions on this. But Ed, would you offer a buy now in addition to the application offer at the same time?
It all depends on the business model. If it's simply I'm going to work with you, and it's an affordable fixed price, $9.97 one time, it gets you 90 days, or it's $4.97 a month as long as you want to go. At that point, you can do the buy now. The thing with the buy now really has to do is if you're doing one-on-one coaching, it's going to have to do with your time. So you're going to have to see how much of traffic are you buying, or how much traffic are you getting onto your webinars, how many people are showing up, how many people you're currently working with, meaning for you to have a life, how many slots are you going to have to be able to consult all these different people. So that's all going to determine whether or not you want to do the buy now. The buy now for me is great for group coaching. I can spend as much time with 300 people as I do with 30. You follow what I mean? It's not going to make a difference unless there's a lot of time with the Q&A, and then you'll just have to do a separate session on a different day for another class of 300 people.
Yep, and the other thing is a lot of these things depend on sort of where you are in your business or where you are in that particular segment of customers that you're targeting. So, for example, if you're just starting out and you've just created this new evergreen webinar and you just want to see how people are even reacting to the content, one of the things you can do in the early going is actually take the price completely out of it and just do only the application close. So basically what you're hoping for is if this is of interest to you, here's what you do next. And then they just apply. There's no pricing, there's no anything for the high-end coaching that you're offering. You're just trying to see, are people responding to what it is that you're teaching?
Yeah, and then if you feel you're getting unqualified people, then later you might want to say, to work with me can be anywhere between $2,500 to $25,000. It depends how long you want to work with us, and how much of our resources in my team you're going to need. And everybody that's listening right now has a slightly different scenario. You all have different jobs. Ron says, would you use a membership site for the coaching? Yeah, absolutely. You can put resources. People can log in, get resources. Mitchell says, my question is whether to have them pay and apply or register and do a refund by exception for people who register and don't qualify. My suggestion is at the end of the webinar, they fill out the application and they got to pay money to submit the application to you, and once they do that, you review the application and do the coaching session. Rogerio says, Mike and Sean, yes, the pricing is a case-by-case basis, but within a certain range, from $300 to $700 a month, depending on the scope. The call to action for me is generating a one-on-one meeting with potential clients who qualify. Can I do that kind of promotion for a webinar? Absolutely. The webinars in this case are used for lead generation. You could even do evergreen webinars where you're telling them, even at the end of the webinar, if it's not an application process, you can simply say, so if this sounds great, here's how you could reach out to me. You could reach out to me on Skype. You can send me an email here, or you could click and submit this form, and I would probably send them to a call to action where you say, click this button and submit this form and tell us a good time to get back to you, and we'll connect on Skype and get together. And again, because you're saying between $300 and $700 a month, depending on the scope, that's not something that you can put a generic add to cart button, because it's going to be depending on the scope of what you need to do for them. Let's see. Tom, this is a great discussion on how to use webinars for coaching and consulting. I'm planning to re-listen several times to this one. Really, really good. And it's probably something I think Andy and I are going to talk more about, especially we've been doing a lot of these coaching calls with people and finding a lot of people doing consulting. And, you know, I think we want to actually maybe show people how they can do live webinars and automated webinars as lead generation into the application process. Certainly Frank Kern does that very well in his business, so maybe something we'll get out there in the future. And I think that's it, right? So I did promise you guys that we would talk about the Q&A, so I'm going to basically just show you how that's done, okay? So if you're still seeing my screen, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and here what you do, guys, is you click on New, okay? And I'm going to click on Slides, and I'm going to title this presentation, let's just choose the simple slide. I'm going to title this presentation just right now, just Webinar Control Q&A, and you saw how we did that. I just basically went to Google Drive. I hit OK, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that with Mitger and Sean. Was it Wander Sean? Yeah. Okay. And they can edit it. Let's just say they were my moderators on my team. Now, Sean and Mitch, if you actually go check your email and get that slide, or I'll pop it to you in Google in Skype. Okay. Come on, Skype. Where are you? All right. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. You guys can just click that in Skype. Now they're going to show up. You're going to see their little icons show up right here. And what we do is I change the format of the slide to, I think they have like slide layouts. Yeah, okay. I'm going to choose this title and body here. Okay. I'm going to center this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in this, and then here.
Dave is saying to add him as well, Mike.
Cool. Share with Dave. Oops. Where is David? Oh, I'm in my different account. That's why it didn't. Okay. So now I say add question here, and then I do this, and I'll probably take that font and make it a little bit smaller, something like this. Just bear with me, guys. You're really going to love this feature. All right. So now what I do, and you see here's Dave, and here's Sean in the chat. I'm going to now, and I can see that Sean's editing the slide. I'm going to hit copy and Control V, and I'm going to paste all of these things here. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is what's called seeding the Q&A. Okay. I want to add some questions that overcome objections. Right. So I might just say something like, you know, can you explain your money back guarantee, right? I would type that out and put a name here like Bill, right? So my next one, oh, and also these things can be slid up and down, right? So the moderators can move up good questions, they can get rid of duplicates. So the next question, where are we? Add question here. Did I lose that one? Where's my, did you guys delete that?
I didn't delete anything, but even if they're over, I usually just scan the chat and paste over them anyway.
Yeah. So the point is, let's say I see these questions like, do you have a payment plan? Do you take PayPal? What if I'm currently working? What if I've used other diets and it didn't work for me? What is your opinion of the paleo diet? What if I have diabetes? Right? The types of questions that you want asked that may not be asked. Right? I'm just throwing out random examples, but these things are questions that you want to overcome objections, right? So if I was doing webinars, it would be, do I have to use my webcam? I don't like the way I look on camera. I know that Google Hangouts automatically shows your webcam when you log in. Jill, hey, Jill, that's a great question. Here's the thing. With our system, you don't have to use a webcam. You can do it 100% slide driven and just do your voice. Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing, Jill, that you didn't even ask, and that's if you even get stage fright and you're scared to be in front of people, you can even pre-record your presentation and use it with our video injection or do automated webinars. So that was a good question, right? So do you see how that works, right? So you guys are saying, how do you log into this system? You just go to Google Drive. Just go to drive.google.com and you're in.
And just as an FYI, everybody, in the coming weeks, you'll be able to do all this in Control Writer anyway, because you'll have slide outputs in addition to docs and spreadsheets and everything else. So, but for now, Google Docs is great for this.
Yeah, the reason why I did this one here for Sean was, Sean, is just it was easier for me to just get you the links and paste and everything like that.
Yeah, for now, absolutely.
This can also be done in Control Writer. So what I did is you just click on the new, and this is where you would do a Google, like a Word or a spreadsheet, and I did a slide. So that opens up here, and then you have everything that you're doing. So you would pre-set up your slides, okay? And that's it. So now what you would then do, if there's a question you have in your moderators, like Sean could have done this. We don't do it here because it's pretty simple. But Sean could have done this, and I'm going to go into, let's say, a question here from Mitchell, and I'm going to take that question and just paste it here. Now that's a little big. I'm going to lower the font size to maybe like a 30. Oh, it's still too big. Let's make that a 14. Too small. All right, and I would put Mitchell's name here. And if I wanted to, click on any of his typos, I certainly would do that, right? And now again, you're seeing anybody that's in this doc, any of the moderators on my team can now move these questions up or down. So simply what I do, I don't even go into any presentation mode. I might have been here, right? Do I need an email service? Hey, that's a good question. No, you don't. We have our own email service, but if you want to build a list, we allow you to export your leads to Aweber, blah, blah, blah. And I would go right here. Let's take a look at the next question. Okay, this is from Mitchell. He says, our webinars for mastermind weekend people, blah, blah, blah. Oh, actually, is that a real question? Let's answer that. Our webinars for a mastermind weekend people have to meet certain criteria to attend. We remind of criteria 2 times during the webinar, then register on 2-part form. First part, credit card and name, and second part is register part B with 5 questions. Note, on part B, if they don't meet the criteria, we'll get refund. Thoughts? Yeah, Mitchell, if that's working for you, I think that's good. And then you see Dave's fixing the typos there. But you see what's good about this is this allows me to know that I have 10 questions in here, and while the question is going, I can actually read these. You can't on my screen. I can actually read these. If I don't like, let's say I didn't like this question, I can just go like that and skip it. You guys didn't even notice. Maybe there's just a question I don't want to deal with, right? But maybe my team thought it might be good, But explain how the refund policy works. I want to put that there. Maybe I felt I spoke about that, and I don't want to have to read that again. And to add another slide, I just click copy and paste, and I can just keep adding more slides here, as you see, right? And then this helps me pace how much time we got. Guys, there are 6 more questions here, so it's your last chance to get questions in for my team. And then now I know I'm done with my Q&A. Guys, do you like this tip on how to build Q&A dynamically with your team? And that way everybody can see the questions here on these slides and how it can help you. If you like that tip, let me know. And all I'm doing is sharing my browser. As you see, I can share anything that's in my browser, my Keynote, the images in a Google search, and my Q&A. I can bring that tab up at any time for you guys. And then when I see that I'm done, I will say something like, okay, guys, this is the last of the Q&A. This is the last question. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and I'm going to let you know how to get back into the program one more time. And now I'm going to go through the entire pitch that I did last time, but much quicker. And it would be like this. Again, you remember Russell Brunson. He said he had great success with the program. Here's Mike Koenig saying he had great success. He's going to be doing this with his JV partners. Here's webinar control. It's going to get you this. The classes start on Tuesday. I'm recapping, so I have the energy. I want to go fast. I know that I'm really only doing this for people that want to buy because people are going to start bouncing out right now. So, I'm going to be reading, so you're going to get webinar control. It's $1,997 value. That's the main course. You'll get lifetime access. And so my pace is really picking up here. And guys, the reason why I'm going really fast is we've only got about 2 minutes left here. So you're going to get the Control Writer Framework, the Video Genesis launch, the Video Genesis training, the video sales letter. You're getting all that for $1997. All you've got to do is click that button that you see on the left above by the chat, or click the link, because we've got about 90 seconds left. Remember this, PayPal bill me later. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can do the payment plan, get started today for $397. See, I'm wrapping up the webinar right now. My energy has to be this fast. Most of you already know what's coming. You've asked the Q&A, but I need to close, and I'm glad. Yeah, great stuff. Yes, this is great. It's great. Love it all. This was a great session today. Thank you, guys. So I appreciate again, all the feedback that we've gotten from you, your questions, your interaction. It was great. At this point, I'm closing. If my JV partner had a bonus, I'm going to say, now, Jim, can you just talk about your bonus again? Yeah, just want to let you guys know I'm going to be doing blah, blah, blah. Cool. He turns it back over to you. Okay, guys, I am going to end the webinar right now, and this is a writer downer. This is what you want to do, because here's what people don't do and why they don't do it. They never click that Add to Cart button throughout your webinar. I think I told you this on Tuesday. They don't click the link. You have to remind them that it's okay to click the link right now. If you click that link, you won't leave the webinar. A lot of them think it's going to open the order page in the webinar. Don't worry, click that link right now. You'll still hear my voice. You can come back to the webinar. The order page will open in a new tab. So don't worry about that. It only takes about 2 minutes to order, and you can get right back and enjoy the rest of the webinar. So don't worry about that. Remember, the bonuses are limited, so you want to do that now. It's the first 50. There's blah, 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 all that type of stuff. And then you say to them this. Since the webinar is closing, what I want you guys to do right now is click that tab so you can keep it open once I shut the webinar down. Because once we shut the webinar down, you're going to lose access to the order link, and you won't be able to get it later. Maybe you want to talk to somebody in your household about it. So click that button now. Guys, that will be the end of the webinar. We're going to be ending, and here's what we do. I then take my order link, and let's just say my order link was CNN.com, so I can get a quick link. Let's say that was my order link. Obviously, it would be the link to your shopping cart. I then go into Webinar Jam, okay? And just forget about all this stuff that you're seeing here right now. I apologize about that. Let me get rid of all the. Oh, actually, I do have to share my screen, otherwise you can't see it. I go into this section right here. If you're seeing on the right side of the screen where it says Room, and I click on Room, and I click on the gear, and then I click right here, and I pop in the link to my Add to Cart button. I don't make it open in a new tab, and then when I say goodbye, I wait about 30 seconds. Now, this is important because there's a delay. If I were to click that right now, you'd miss the last 30 seconds. So I say, okay, everybody, that's it. Goodbye. I would then hit Stop Broadcast, and then I go into Skype and I talk to my team and I say, hey, Dave, you're watching it live. Let me know when the broadcast ends. And he says, it just ended, and that's about 30 seconds later, and I click Redirect Them. And the entire room now goes to my order page. Okay? I'm going to get rid of this obnoxious thing here, and we'll go back to my face, and I'm not going to redirect you guys because that would make sense. There's no order button. And that's the end of our training, ladies and jelly beans. We're done with all of the content. Any questions that we missed there, Sean?
No, I think now it's just been everyone saying how fantastic today's session was. Really loved it. I can't agree more. I am, partners with Mike, friends with Mike, all this good stuff. But every single time I get on a webinar with Mike, I have my own writer downers, and when you're not seeing my face and stuff in the background, I'm usually taking notes and putting stuff down myself because I learn every single time we get together. And but the one thing I just want to remind everyone here is just to sort of be cognizant, because I think if there's one or two takeaways to take from this training session and really just everything, it's that, you know, when you are doing that webinar, that Wednesday and the encore webinar on Friday and the replays, that you're not even just the goal of your webinar, but your responsibility for yourself and for your future customers is to get them into action. That is your first and primary mission. I'll just throw the question out to all of you. How many times in these 6 weeks of training have Mike, Mitch, or I ever upsold or asked for any other sale of any kind once we've been in this fulfillment mode? We haven't asked, to my memory, Mike, not once.
No. No.
Once you've gotten people into action through your webinar, now it's time, like we're doing here, to just deliver on pure training, pure content. But you can't change people's life in 60 minutes. You can maybe inspire them, maybe get them thinking about a new promised land for themselves. But if you can't get them into action, you're not going to be able to give them the best help. And so that's the first and primary goal of any of these webinars.
So guys, this wraps up our training. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, but this is the last training from me at this time. So thanks so much for all the kind words to Mitch and Sean and myself here that you guys are closing out with. I really appreciate that. I was typing to as many of you as I could while Sean was talking. It's been a pleasure. I have to say, I think for 997, all the things that I've done online over the last 12 years, I think I've had the most fun working with you guys. I truly feel this was the best value. I mean, it's something I think that everybody that felt they could use it in their business came on and got great content over these last calls, and plus the additional video training that was already existing and the frameworks and the software and where you can go. It's been a great ride with you. It's almost been like you know, this fast-packed coaching program that we've done. And I have to say, and I mean this sincerely, I'm going to miss you guys on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've actually been looking forward to these little breaks. It's kind of like we're this little team that gathers. And for those of you listening on the replays, I appreciate it. And certainly those of you that are making it live, and I'm recognizing your name all the time, and you know, Scott and Ron and Yvette and Mitchell and Rogerio and all you guys, Tony, I see you guys here every single week. We had a little bit of a drop down. Of course, everybody's always excited in the first one. You guys have, for the most part, made every single session. I have to say thank you for that as well. I will be on the call on Tuesday. Like I said, I'm going to say hello and turn it over to Mitch and Sean and then say goodbye at the end. But for the most part, I'm very proud of what we've left you guys with, and now it's for you to take action with it. We've got the Facebook group, so it doesn't have to end. You can continue to interact with Dave and Sean and Mitch and myself inside of that group. Andy Jenkins, I report back to him every single day. We've divided and conquered. He kept saying, is there anything I can do? And I said, Andy, I've got it. We've been doing lots of coaching calls, and he's got to work on our funnels. He sends his love. He appreciates everything here. I can tell you everything that comes out of my brain. You know, I learn much of it from Andy. You've gotten the best from us. So, guys, that's it. We're wrapped up.
Just remember, 3 p.m., not 6 p.m. Eastern next week.
3 hours earlier than normal. Tuesday is going to be the offer control session, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 noon Pacific on Tuesday. You're going to learn everything you need to know about the software. And that's it. We're done. Get your final goodbyes in. Goodbye, everybody. You guys all stuck around.
All right, wait till you see what we've got coming for you guys next week. Probably even over the weekend before that training. You guys will, if you clear your caches and your cookies, you will see a whole new updated version of the software on your screen, which we will get into next week. So,
great.
Thanks again, everybody.
Love you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. It has been a lot of fun, and we'll see you in the Facebook group. See you Tuesday. Bye-bye.